Hi everyone, it's Psychic Medium Jojo Empathic here, and in today's video I want to talk about how we are all experiencing these massive collective energy shifts. So as many of you are aware, in the past few years there's been a massive awakening. So with this awakening, people are pushing for the truth. People are no longer staying complacent with what they've been taught or programmed or socialized to believe. And this is great. However, it's not always easy. An awakening usually and always comes with the dark night of the soul. It's not an easy journey for anyone. It's alchemy. And so we do this change through darkness. So essentially our subconscious has manifested, almost like you could say, war. Our subconscious as a collective has manifested a dark change, a strong push in the systems that are governing us. This is why these times on Earth right now feel so uncomfortable. And unfortunately, many of us that have a prophetic ability are a bit concerned with the life paths that are at play right now. Because we can be alchemists, which is a good thing. However, there's been a lot of greed and ego in this process that's led us and pushed us almost to the extreme of destruction. So let's focus on the positive here. The positive is that we've actually pushed for a change in our education systems. Many are no longer okay with sending their children to sit at a desk all day and be programmed to believe in education that's not always true, and it doesn't really prepare children for the real world as adults. There's a greater awareness that there is a better way to educate and teach people, and to be more hands-on, and to include more nature, and to include more art in education. The education system has really been designed to keep people in boxes, and that's not our true nature. We are expressive by nature. We are unique and original creators. So the education system has essentially programmed us into this, now as adults, a lot of depression. The education system has programmed us as children into adulthood to have a lot of anxiety and a lot of confusion as well. So it's great that we are pushing for a change in the education system. I could go on and on about how unjust and unfair our judicial system is, and how laws are really not always for us. So we, the people, have been pushing for major reforms within the judicial system, which is wonderful. Our culture is really programmed to this punishment and reward system, which is really rooted in ego and not love. There is a better way to change the minds and spirits of people other than punishing people and going back to the desk, keeping people in boxes. Here's another good one. There's been a collective shift in what people are accepting in world religions. Many people are understanding that our holy texts have been manipulated, translated, and are filled with not always the truth. Many spiritual people came to the realization that our holy texts were channeled, and this led to many individuals realizing that they themselves are the church, they themselves are the temple and the channel, which is great. Spirituality really leads to enlightenment and freedom of the soul. While religion really tends to push control, human-made laws, human justice, which is not divine justice, and is also led to just about all of the wars that we know and have experienced here on Earth. Religion really divides people, and we can see within different religious systems many people falling very ill from not being aligned to these higher truths. There's been a collective awakening to look into our food industry and how corrupt it is, and how it's, we are fed since we were children really toxic and poisonous food, and our water is tainted as well as our air. So there's been this environmental push. There's been a push to change how we are eating and consuming, and a greater push for sustainability, which is great. Our environment, Mother Earth, she's at a tipping point. So back to the message I said earlier, is it's almost like we're at a point of no return here. So if you're seeing this message today, and this may be the first time you've heard of this is something you want to look into ASAP, because it's going to affect all of us and generations to come. There's been a push to look into the medical for-profit system, which really dismisses a lot of our great truths as we are spirits and we are channels. And the system really doesn't take time to help people get through mental illness. It doesn't really help provide lasting healing to people, which is our birthright. We are naturally regenerative and self-healing. And of course, this doesn't align with the medical for-profit system. There's been a collective awakening when it comes to the military and the war industry. People are saying we've had enough. There's literally people on Earth that celebrate these nuclear bombs and the potential destruction of humanity. We've gone too far in greed, ego, and control. There's an awareness of how our media manipulates us and how marketing campaigns manipulate us. We have a greater awareness of the socialization of what a healthy home looks like, what healthy relationships look like, and what, gender and gender roles look like. It's not always fitting to everybody. This is what I really wanted to talk about today. There's a major call to stop the institutionalization of intuitive intelligence. Mental health is rampant on Earth right now, and I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe or diagnose, but one thing I see as a medical intuitive is that there is a mismanagement in how people are treating and understanding mental health. There's a whole spiritual and energetic component to how we feel, how we think, and what we believe, how we emote. And so some of the brightest minds and most intuitive people are being institutionalized right now. What is it like being extrasensory? I'll tell you, it's very difficult, and many would even say that it's almost like a disability. We don't see, hear, feel, we don't experience life like the majority and the masses of people do. So a lot of times especially a lot of us are born into this Western world where we aren't catered to growing up as healers. And it's a lot easier to not train us and develop our intuitive skills and to push us into institutions and say we're mentally ill, rather than to help educate us, train us, and help us. So if you come across this video and you're struggling with anxiety, depression, hearing voices, maybe this is a time that this dark night that you're going through, this dark time, is pushing you into your greater truths, is to helping you to understand really who you are in the inside and outside energetic world that exists. We are governed by the unseen energies. Our thoughts we can't see, our feelings we can't see, but they can dictate our actions. People with ESP, we struggle, we can't even work normal jobs, a lot of us, with the way that we see and perceive energy, the way we hear it, makes it very challenging for us to be in crowds. And this is a time-space reality, so it doesn't even matter if, you're in California and your family's in New York. We may still be feeling, hearing, knowing what is going on with our family thousands of miles away. That's a lot to manage, and especially if you don't have the awareness that it's happening to you. And most intuitives don't have the awareness because we aren't educated in that direction. So, if you come across this video and you're struggling and you're trying to figure out what is going on, this video I really hope speaks to you. It's time for us as intuitives to reclaim our power, to train our skill. Back in the olden days, we were respected, we were leaders, we were known as prophets. But today, we're pushed into institutions. We are pushed to not liking who we are, unfortunately, a lot of intuitives end up committing suicide. And that's why this message is so important. I hope it reaches anyone today that is really struggling with energy, with how they feel. Understanding how your senses work and how you interact with the outside and inside world is imperative. Your education and your training is what is going to save you. You're not alone. The fight's not easy, but remember, we've come here at a very specific time on purpose. Again, my name is Psychic Medium JoJo Empathic. You can visit my website, jojoempathic.com, and book a reading or energy healing session with me. I'd love to connect with you. Blessings.